All right, all right, all right. We're back. We're back. Sports talks with Rashid and Berick. As you notice, Berick is not here. He's actually calling from an undisclosed location right now. Berick, introduce yourself, brother.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Sorry I could not be face to face with you guys, but I am here in sound, mind, and spirit, and we're ready to get going with this show. We're gonna be discussing the whole playoff picture, and we're gonna try to break everything down. And we hope you enjoy this particular show. So let's get going on, baby.
All right, what's going on with you, man? How you doing, man? I see you. I see you. You're actually comfortable somewhere, and
I
right
wish.
here.
I wish. Yeah, but right now, I tell you, it's just a matter of just taking care of some things. But I didn't want to miss this show. It's very important that we jump on this because the NBA playoffs are upon us now, and this is where we got to say honestly where NBA is going to be the most exciting, man. We're going to be discussing where we think each particular team in the first round of the playoffs can move and how they move. So it'll be very interesting.
All right, let's get right into it. Do you want to start off with the Eastern Conference playoffs or the Western Conference playoff? Do we go west to east or east to west?
Let's go east to west, baby. We're in the East Coast. Let's start off in the East.
All right, so first matchup is between the Bucks and the Pistons. They're Detroit's.
Yes, Detroit Pistons right now, in my opinion, have sort of backdoored themselves in the playoffs. They did get hot last two games, but they're going against a strong Milwaukee Bucks team led by Giannis, Middleton, Brook Lopez. And my biggest thing right now in this series is, how things are going to take place in the perimeter game. In other words, we look at Middleton and Lopez, they've been very good from beyond the arc. We know that Giannis is a matchup problem. No doubt about that.
A problem. He's a matchup nightmare. A matchup nightmare. I don't think Detroit has anybody to really match up against him. Maybe what do you actually think? You think Andre Drummond can actually neutralize his drive somewhat? What do you actually think about that? Or you think that's putting too much pressure on Drummond defensively?
You don't want to match up Drummond on every single defensive possession. But I do think when it comes to switches, that's what it's going to be about in this particular series, is getting the switches. You're talking about Detroit's ability to get to the basket with Jackson. And
Giannis can't shoot, so it's not like you have to pull Drummond out of the paint, though. I think I'm picking maybe Detroit actually sneaks a game in if Blake Griffin can actually go off from three.
Injury prone Blake Griffin.
Am I what you said? Sorry.
That's an injury prone Blake Griffin.
Yeah, he still could shoot though. He's shooting threes. His 3-point percentage has actually increased this year.
Yeah, it has. But listen. I think right now, I'm gonna go on a limb on this one. You're probably gonna disagree with this, but this is how we gotta go. I just think Milwaukee's gonna sweep through the series.
Okay, I have them in 5. I have them in 5. Yeah.
Okay, I got Milwaukee in a sweep.
Okay.
And because I don't think Detroit has enough firepower on offense to compete with the height and length of the Milwaukee Bucks.
Okay.
I do think Detroit will find a way to neutralize Giannis and his ability to get to the basket. And that's where you made a question about Drummond will come into play. I do think it does come down to something like that. I mean, Drummond's ability to – Detroit does not play bad defense, but let's just be honest. They have a lot to defend. They have a lot to worry about. Milwaukee has a lot of pieces on offense that Detroit's going to have to worry about moving forward. I just don't think Detroit will have enough muster to at least take one game in this series. I'd be shocked if it does go 5. I do think 5 can be a safe bet. But don't be shocked if Milwaukee sweeps in this series.
All right. Toronto and Orlando.
Interesting series there. Now, we do talk about a team in Orlando who does have offensive firepower. And I'll tell you something. With their ability to drive and shoot the basketball, probably situation for Toronto. We had some interesting information that leaked out about Toronto, but we won't talk about that right now.
Okay.
I
just heard.
We don't inject that right now. Hopefully, I say that because I hope Toronto is going to be extremely focused on this series. My concern with Toronto, and I do know that DeMar DeRozan is gone, but Lowry's ability in the postseason has not been consistent, and he's been subpar in the postseason the last 2 years. And I'm hoping for bigger and better things from him from the point guard position. Van Fleet coming off the bench will be a good assistance. Serge Ibaka's ability to stretch the basketball floor in regards to his ability to shoot the basketball from beyond the arc, and his ability in the paint, both on the offensive and defensive end, and of course Kawhi Leonard's ability to get into the block.
All right, now what about Terrence Ross? Do you actually see him as a? I think he's coming off the bench. Do you actually see him as a having any kind of impact on this?
Who's now with Orlando?
Yeah,
he used to be with Toronto.
I mean, he traded him. They traded him.
He traded him, which is not a smart deal on Toronto's part. But let me tell you something.
No, he was wild. That was smart. I mean, he gave you no kind of productivity. I mean, he'll have a good game like every 5 or 6 games. He just, I don't know. He just didn't give you. He didn't really give you much. He was invisible a lot of times.
Terrence Ross over the past week was hitting his shots ridiculously. I mean, he's a streaky shooter, and me being more or less a fan of the jump shot game. Okay, when Ross is hot, he can be a problem. Okay? Just a couple of nights ago, I just seen Ross drop 13 points in 5 minutes, all from the outside.
Yeah.
I mean, he can be a problem if his shots are falling, but I don't think he's the guy you're going to really worry about. But like I said, Orlando has the ability to at least apply a lot of pressure to Toronto's defense. And obviously make them work on defense. That's what you want, Toronto. You want Kawhi Leonard to work hard on defense. You want Boston and boys to work hard on defense because that will eliminate their ability to be creative on offense. But I do think at the end of the day, I would pick Toronto in this series. Man, I'm going to go on a limb on this one, man. I'm going to pick Toronto on 5.
Okay.
I'm going to pick Toronto on 5 on this one. I think Toronto has the ability to win this series in 5 games. I think Lowry will step up this time. I'm not saying his inabilities in the past 2 years in postseason have been because it's been him and DeRozan, but for whatever the reason, they couldn't get past LeBron. That's what it really was. They couldn't get past LeBron. LeBron's gone now. So
yeah, I think Toronto's second unit players versus Orlando's second unit players is the bench is so much better. They're deeper. So
yeah, absolutely. So what is your predictions in this series, sir?
No, I concur with you. Maybe Orlando actually sneaks a game in. They play hard. They play good defensively. But I do concur with you. 5 games.
Interesting. Now we get into the meat and potatoes of the Eastern Conference now. We're talking about the 3rd seed and the 6th seed, that being the Philadelphia 76ers against the
Brooklyn Nets, baby. Brooklyn Nets. Ooh.
Yeah, this to me, and I'm sure I know you agree. This is definitely the interesting series of the Eastern Conference.
Absolutely.
This is going to be the series that will go 7. And I think, honestly, Brooklyn's going to take the series.
Ooh, now, that's a hot take, man. That's extremely. All right, what's your reasons for that? And this is my team, man. I'm surprised you are a hardcore Knicks fan here. So, what's your actual reasons?
I'm a Knicks fan, but I'm not a Knicks hater. In other words, I'm not a Net hater. In other words, I'm a Giants fan, but I don't hate the Jets. I'm
trying to bring you over to like the to the Lusitania, the Lusitania thing. Well, what was the boat that actually rescued the people from the Titanic? So I'm trying to. I forgot the name of the boat, but I'm trying to get you on that ship. Yeah, I'm trying to get you on that ship right there. But you want to stay on the Titanic and sink to the bottom of the Atlantic, man?
Nah, man, we ain't sinking, bro. We ain't sinking. I believe in Steve Mills. I believe these guys are gonna get this thing together at some point. This is where the Knicks are going to make it. We're going to get too far on this Knicks thing. We're going to jump on it. I'm going to say this real quick. This pick and these 2 max contracts is what.
Listen, I think there's a dark curse, and over the Knicks right
Oh
now. It's
man,
a dark
no
cloud.
such thing as curse, man. No such thing as curse in sports, man. People want to believe in that because things just don't quite work out. I mean, you can say the curse of the Bambino on the Boston Red Sox, but now look what they're doing. And then won one World Series in 7 years. Come on, ain't no more curse over there.
All right, listen, we'll touch up on the Knicks in the draft, man.
Yeah, all right, you started now. All right, let's stick to this other New York team, the Brooklyn Nets. Okay, that's what we mentioned. They're the 16 in this series. And they're going to be going against the Philadelphia 76ers. Now, the reason why I think this is an interesting series is because the Nets have a lot of pieces.
Okay.
They have a good bench. But we're going to start with the number one player in this series. And it's not Ben Simmons. And it's not Joel Embiid. It's D'Angelo Russell. I'm going to tell you why D'Angelo Russell, in my eyes, is the spotlight player of this series, or what we may say in the sports is the X factor. Because D'Angelo has the ability to shoot the rock and pressure the defense off the dribble. He also plays very good defensively.
He's okay defensively. He's not great defensively.
Listen, he's going to learn playoff basketball in this particular case.
Okay.
And I think, the good thing about Brooklyn is the offenses don't have to necessarily go through one person. But I think in most crucial times, D'Angelo's the guy that's going to have to create and get the baskets.
Mm-hmm.
You also have other important pieces on this team. And we're going to go with Mr. LeVert, man. I think we're going to have to see big things from Mr. LeVert in this playoff series. I like Jared Allen in the low block. I think he's going to be very disruptive, especially.
Well, I'm not against Joel Embiid. That's the whole thing. If Joel Embiid doesn't play, I don't think Jared Allen is going to be really that effective in this series.
You said if he does play.
If Joel Embiid actually does play, because I think there was a couple of matchups this year that he gave the Greek Freak. He gave Giannis fits in terms of actually finishing around the basket there, and Jared Allen, even though yes he's a good finisher at the rim, he's not Giannis.
No, he's not Giannis, but like I said, at the end of the day, I mean, what kind of health condition is Joel Embiid in this series?
They said he has a hobbled knee.
Okay, so you see the person with a hobbled knee creating much havoc in the block.
He's a big body, man, and you can't just run over people. He'll get charge calls against him. He's still a big presence. The only way I think if Joel,
move your feet.
Not with a knee injury, you're not going to move your feet, man.
And that's my point. So what kind of effect can this man be?
Well, Jared Allen, he sets a high screen. He's a rim runner. He sets the high screen. He runs to the rim in a straight line. So he's not putting any kind of pressure on Joel to actually move laterally. He's just going straight at you. Now if he has if somehow Joel gets switched on to like a Spencer Dinwiddie or D'Angelo Russell or Karis LeVert, now we have problems now. So that's a problem. But in terms of Jared Allen going in a straight line, going to the basket, no, that's.
Well, I'm not gonna put much of an emphasis on his offensive end. I was speaking more on the defense. I like Jared Allen's game on the defensive end. I do think he'll have a lot to say in this series from the defensive side.
From the defense, absolutely. I agree. Well, we'll see about that.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll see. If he doesn't get into any kind of early foul trouble, guarding Joel Embiid, he has to learn how to play defense without fouling him. Just use verticality, go straight up, stop fouling, stop whacking, because you're not going to block his shot. So just try to challenge him without fouling. And I'd rather, if Joel Embiid is healthy, I'd rather they go 5 out. Put Jared Dudley at the 3. Put Jared Dudley at the 5. He could, he's a catch and shoot 40 to 41 career percentage 3-point shooter, and you would actually beat him that way. It's 2-pointers versus 3-pointers. I'm looking at the chemistry between the Philadelphia 76ers. One, they haven't been playing a long time. That's one. Two, do you actually see Jimmy sitting in the
Touching
corner
leg
and
playing hard to
being like a role player when he's actually trying to get a max contract this year. Ben Simmons is a problem. He can't shoot. That's one. Two, he can't hit free throws. So I don't know how you even play him in the fourth quarter because these games, for the most part, it should be, in the fourth quarter, 6, 2-3 possession games. So we'll see how that actually works out there.
I think at the end of the day, we talk a lot about it. I mean, you and I have talked about it off camera about the inability. And I always felt like I said right now on record now that, yes, I like D'Angelo Russell's ability to create some havoc on Philadelphia defensively.
He averaged 30 points a game against them.
That's what I'm saying. So I really feel like at the end of the day, we will have some success from that standpoint because it's the postseason and adjustments will definitely be made. But nothing has changed with Ben Simmons' ability to at least put the ball in the basket from at least 15, 20 feet. I mean, he does.
Well, he can shoot. Listen, no, you said Joel. I'm sorry, Ben Simmons. Yeah.
Ben Simmons, yeah. Now, I'm saying at the end of the day, Ben Simmons, I've seen him get to the basket many, many times.
But listen, in the playoffs, remember, the playoffs are a totally different animal, man. Your first, second options are always taken away, though. They're not going to give Ben Simmons easy driving lanes. Brooklyn's going to play they're going to play a 2-3 zone.
That's not what I'm saying. I still think, I don't even know if Philly's going to, I don't know if Brooklyn's going to want to do a 2-3 zone. But we'll see as the series progresses. First game is going to be fill each other out. We're going to see who's what. But what I'm saying as a projection of the series itself, I do think Ben Simmons will find a way to get to the basket as the series progresses. This is what I'm saying to you. All right? And at the end of the day, I've noticed a lot of times that Ben Simmons, he can't even lay the basketball sometimes. He's been missing easy layups.
Okay.
He's a big concern for me, brother. He's a big concern for me. He really is.
If he's on the low block, but again, I think Brooklyn will go zone. They have the 2-3 zone. They have a couple of different zone defenses. They're not going to let Ben Simmons, they're going to take away all his strengths. Maybe Joel, we'll see if he's a great player or not because that's the markup of a good player. You can actually
and we're forgetting about J.J. Redick. Can't forget about that.
Yeah, he can shoot, but I think if you press him, if you face guard him, you take away, run him off the 3-point line. Can he actually? His strength is not really creating for others. Going to the hole. Creating for others.
No, we're talking about Simmons' ability to do that because if you're saying the 2-3-2 zone is going to be presented, then yeah, guys like Redick will be open.
Yeah,
guys like Redick will be open on the wing.
Yeah.
All right, that's why I'm bringing up his name. If that's what you're going to do, then be prepared for what they're going to do from the perimeter.
Well, that's why I kind of hope Joel Embiid's because let him go for 30. I think there was a game, the same game where Brooklyn went against the Los Angeles Lakers, and JaVale McGee had a monster night. He had 33 points, 20 rebounds, 6 blocks. It didn't mean anything because it was 2-pointers versus 3-pointers. It's a math equation. So.
Well, you remember how many times we've always had our private conversations. I would go back to one series where that did work when the 2004 Detroit Pistons beat the Lakers and they allowed Shaq and Kobe to get their points. They took away
exactly, and that's exactly what I would do. I would actually let Joel Embiid get his and stay at home on everyone else. If Brooklyn hits threes and I was saying my sleeper in that series was Allen Crabbe because he's a career 42% 3-point catch and shoot, not off the dribble.
I was thinking about Allen Crabbe, but I didn't know where his condition was.
Well, he's hurt. Yeah, he has surgery. But now you have Travion Graham, who's a 3-and-D player, and he can actually hit threes. So.
Cruz, got him on there.
Well, that's where the 5-out theory comes into play, though.
Yeah,
Brooklyn can actually go that route.
I think this series is going to be very intriguing. I think each conference has that one series that's going to be intriguing. This is the intriguing series right here.
All right, let's move on. Let's one more thing between the I forgot the coaching matchup. Kenny Atkinson and was it Brett Brown is the coach for the 76ers. who do you actually think will win that matchup there?
Win that matchup.
They both come from the pop tree right there.
Yes, they have, and I think at the end of the day, it's going to be what we talked about thus far: the ability to match up and create problems, especially in the low block, especially in the perimeter. And who's going to make adjustments inside the third? Listen, when these games are lost in the postseason, it's starting from the 3-minute mark of the fourth quarter. I am of complete confidence that each one of these games is going to be very competitive and compelling about the third minute remaining in the fourth quarter. And this is when Gibson and Brown are going to earn their money.
And you know what? Brooklyn actually shown that they can actually win on the road. The last 2 games that actually clinched the 6th seed was road games. So they're role players, which normally role players don't actually play well on the road. They usually play well at home. Their road players actually play better at on the road.
Right.
And same thing at home. So yeah, you know what? I'll go with Brooklyn in 7. I'll have to.
Oh, you gonna go Brooklyn in 7?
I mean, as long as D'Angelo just doesn't take risky passes and just value possessions, then I think I have Brooklyn in 7. Chemistry wise, the Nets are together. They've been playing together the whole year. I see a lot of chemistry issues with the 76ers. And an unproven head coach, too.
And by us saying, I want to make sure we're very clear about our predictions for our listeners. I want to make sure we're very clear about our Game 7 prediction. It means, and hear this out, guys. It means that Brooklyn's going to have to go into Philly and win twice.
Well, I think if you steal, it's a 2-2-1-1 format, right? So I think you get the first game, Philadelphia gets the next game. They go home to Brooklyn twice. They win the next game at home, lose the next game. Now you tie it up. All you got to do is steal one road game. Again, you're right.
That's right. That's what you got to do. So my biggest thing would be, at the end of the day, my biggest thing would be right now is just simply getting to a position where, you take care of your 2 games. Those 2 games in Brooklyn, games 3 and 4, you take care of those 2 games and go from there, So we shall see how things go along, and again, we got to go and see how things work out in that particular case. But Brooklyn is 7.
All right, on to the West over here.
Well, no, we got Boston and Philly.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah, What do you actually think about that? Can Philadelphia does play hard? Philadelphia. I'm sorry, man, I'm losing it today.
Okay.
Indiana actually plays hard. Yeah, this is the 4-5 matchup.
Right.
Boston. What do you actually think about that?
I like Boston in this series. It's going to be a tough series.
Okay.
I know. I think it's going to be a very important issue, this situation with the Boston and Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving, in my opinion, is, can he play team ball? I think this was coming down to. Can he play team basketball? If he can play team basketball, Boston's winning this series. Okay? Boston's winning this series with no problem.
Yeah, I just don't think that Indiana, Bogan Bogdanovic, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing his name properly or not, but
that's your boy. He's still a Brooklyn.
Nah, they traded him away, but he's your leading scorer right now. Do you actually? I don't see him as a high percentage one-on-one player. He can shoot, but I think if you just pretty much face guard him, I don't think he has the athleticism to really run around, and I just don't see it, man. I have Boston.
Right.
5 games.
Yeah, pretty much. I think they can get it done.
Yeah, we'll dive into Boston. We'll dive into Boston in the next round. I don't think Boston right now is an issue in the first round. So we'll see in the next round. We definitely.
I think Boston's getting out of there, but I think Boston's going to win that first round. games. So we'll see what happens. But I also think that there's a lot of guys on that team in Boston that get Rozier and Brown and Tatum, and listen, that whole team is coming around right now.
Yeah.
That whole team, even Horford's starting to play better. All right, Hayward's playing better. Just defer to basketball. Take the shots when you can, Kyrie. But defer to basketball around. There's too many guys on that team.
Yeah, Kyrie's actually good. He's good if you're actually you need a guy like Kyrie because if you actually start running your sets and you can't get anything and if the shot clock is down to 6, 7, throw the ball to Kyrie, he'll get you a basket. So yeah, you need you need guys like Kyrie Irving, and he's proven. And, he does have championship experience, and he showed up. He's built for, taking the last shot and game on the line. I think he's built for that.
No doubt about it. So we both agree Boston 5, huh?
Yes, sir.
All right. That sounds like a plan. All right, on to the Western Conference.
All right, so Golden State and the Clippers. Now, Steph Curry is actually really hobbled right now.
Yes,
I'm not sure if he'll play, because I think psychologically, maybe Golden State has that edge over the Clippers. I mean, maybe the Clippers going in and thinking there's no way we're going to beat these guys. But with Steph Curry injured or not playing, who's their primary ball handler? Who's going to bring the ball up the court? And you also have Patrick Beverly.
Well, he's going to have the ball in his hand, bro. I think that's what's going to have to happen. And who's your next primary ball handler? Yeah. It's not Clay.
I think that's a weakness that Golden State didn't address. And I don't know. I think Steph Curry. I was watching the play. He just planted his foot and he just sprained his ankle. I mean,
he's had ankle injuries when he played at Davidson. Okay, let's go out there. Clay has always had injury problems. Okay. He's always had injury problems when it pertains to the ankle. It got worse in the NBA. I'm not shocked that he planted his foot down. A lot of times you do that jump step move or that plant move. You're going from left to right. A lot of these things where that usually happens with most ball players. When you have ankle injury or ankle problems like Steph does, then usually these things will happen. I don't know what kind of effect this he will have in this series. But what I do believe is that he will be on the floor at some point. I also believe that it does, and you're right, you hit the hammer on top of the nail with that one. It didn't really address who's going to be the primary ball player if Steph is not on the floor.
Because that's not really Klay Thompson's strength. I mean, he can handle the ball, but it's also about making correct decisions with the basketball, too.
Mm-hmm. No doubt about that. So I do think Golden State's going to win this series. But listen, don't fall asleep on the Clippers, baby. They've been very good this year.
No, I'm not. And if Steph Curry is actually playing, he can get switched on to Lou Williams.
Lou Williams is the guy on that team, baby. Yeah. I mean, listen, they put a collective group of people on that team, and let me tell you something, they're getting it done.
Over there. All right, so Boogie Cousins is actually starting to come up to speed now. It looks like he's starting to get his legs back. But it's the same thing with Boogie Cousins. If he actually starts getting switched on onto let's say a Lou Williams, a Patrick Beverly, how do they actually hide him and Steph Curry defensively? Because with Steph,
hide them?
You have to hide Steph. They have to hide him.
I don't know if you're going to be. I just honed on that on the previous series, especially the Brooklyn and the Brooklyn series, about the ability to do switching. And I think if you guys hobble Steph Curry out there, he becomes a liability on defense. I mean, now you're going 4 on 5, like how it was back in the day with the Bulls. You knew Robin wasn't going to be able to score, so he was a liability on offense, but they found a way to score. This is where Steve Kerr, and speaking of the Bulls, he was on those championship teams. He was under Phil Jackson. I'm sure he's done quite a bit along the way. You don't have to figure out a way to compensate with Steph on the floor.
Well, I know you can hide one. You can't hide 2 poor defenders. You can't.
Hey, listen, I understand that. You're making a prediction on how they're going to gamble.
Because I know a lot of the pundits are actually saying this could be a sweep. But I think with Steph Curry, the Clippers play hard.
see the Clippers win the game in this. I actually concur with the prognosticators of this whole thing. I don't think they're going to win a single game in this series, but I do think. Hear me out on this now. I think Golden State will win all 4 games, but I think all 4 games will be very competitive.
Okay.
I do. I think they'll all be competitive.
And remember the physicality changes too, man. The refs allow more. They're not going to call a lot of these ticky-tack calls.
That's what they say. We shall see.
That's not what they say. That's what I actually witnessed over here, man. Through 20-something years of watching this damn game, man. All right.
Well, I mean, listen. Let me tell you what I've seen in 20-something years. Okay, you don't want to affect the game in the fourth quarter. Referees do not want to do that.
Exactly.
Let's put it out there like that. So if you say, yeah, they want to referee, let them go play. But when it comes down to it, they're going to have to make some calls, especially if it's getting rough in the paint. And it probably will be. Okay? But
now, you know what? I'm thinking about the bench. They still, you know what? I think you're right. I think it's a sweep. You have Iguodala that they can actually put on Lou Williams. And I'm not saying that Iguodala will actually stop Lou Williams, but yeah, they have guys that can actually throw. I think the only high percentage one-on-one player there is actually Lou Williams.
Yeah. That's pretty much the deal. I do think this will go as a sweep. I don't think it's going to be a rugged sweep. I think it's going to be a very hard sweep.
Yeah.
I do think the Clippers will find ways to, push the envelope against the Golden State Warriors in this series and give them a little tough time. But still, when you sweep the series, you got to hope your opponents don't sweep through their series. You hope that your next opponent, will have a rough go of it, so that way you can get some needed rest. Because I think the Clippers are going to push them.
Okay.
All right. So now we got our 2-7 matchup.
Yeah, we have Denver and San Antonio. That's actually another intriguing series right there.
Yes, it is. So you're talking about the best coach in professional basketball.
Yep.
Is Popovich.
Yep.
Listen. You got Mr. Aldridge over there. And he's been doing pretty good for them. But this is going to be a very interesting series because I'm not too sure what to expect from Denver, bro. I'm not too sure what to expect from Denver. I mean, this team has been another breath of fresh air besides Milwaukee.
Yeah, San Antonio is a horrible road team. I think coaching, you have to give the edge to Pop.
Yeah, but the talent's on Denver's side right now.
It is. But they're who's their top scorer? The Sensors. I keep forgetting this guy's name, man.
Djokovic or something like that.
Yeah. That's their best player, pretty much, and that's their leading scorer. But
now
what you're talking about is. But the problem is that he doesn't bring the ball up the court. By the time the ball is actually inbounded from the 24-second shot clock to by the time he actually gets the ball, it would be probably 17 seconds on the shot clock. They'll force the ball out of his hands and probably hope someone else beats them. By the time the ball actually does get back to him, you're talking about 7 to 8 seconds, maybe 6 seconds to actually work with. And I don't think he's like a really great shot creator off the dribble type. But yeah, we'll see about that. We'll see. I think that's how Pop would actually play him right there, because he's actually good at actually taking away at your first, second, third options.
Yeah, I mean that's what it comes down to. And I'm gonna tell you something. You look at this series, and the reason why I say it's interesting 2-7 matchup is because when you think about Denver Nuggets, this is a team obviously that's fresh, raw. We do expect a lot from them in the near future. You know what I mean, as far as what their success is going to be. But I do think they're going to be pretty darn good. I think they're going to be really good to go moving forward. But I think at the end of the day, I love what Denver's doing. And I honestly feel like they will have a lot to say in the postseason. I do give them a chance against the Spurs. Well, I'm going I really am going to go on a limb. I do know San Antonio is terrible on the road, but I'm going to go on a limb with these guys.
Okay.
I think you're going to laugh at this one. I think Denver wins this in 6, man.
It's 6?
I do.
Yeah.
In 6 games. I do. I honestly think they might win this thing in 6 games. I really do. Because I'll tell you why. I think San Antonio, for what it's worth, being coached by Pop, that's the biggest thing that you got to go with. That's the biggest thing you got to go with. Their ability to get to the basket. They do have a pretty good perimeter jump shooting. I think Aldridge is going to be
they're not a great 3-point shooting team. They're a great, mid-range 2-pointers. But listen, actually, they said the mid-range game is gone, but to actually hit those mid-range shots, that kind of opens up driving lanes for you right there. You can't just be strictly a totally downhill player, and that's we're going to talk about that's going to be talked about in the next series over here in terms of.
Well, I'm going to tell you something now. You got Bellinelli on that team with San Antonio. I'm going to tell you something about this series. And the reason why I'm going after this series and saying this is going to be Denver in 6, because I'm going to tell you something. A lot of people right now really do feel like this could be a possibility of an upset. And San Antonio might be able to pull this series out.
Okay.
I'm not one to go against that concept. Okay?
I have Denver in 7 games.
Do you?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Not bad. I like that. That's all right. I'm going with 6. But we shall see how this thing plays itself out. But I do like Denver. I do think Denver will pull this out. I just don't think it's going to be an easy way to go. This thing was teetering between them and Houston, so this is how this whole thing works itself out. I'm just unfortunate that, Houston wasn't the number 2 seed, but, we'll get to Houston in a minute. But again, my pick in this series will be Denver in 6 games. Your pick is Denver in 7. We shall see how this thing plays itself out.
All right, now let's get to the next one. Dun, 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 dun.
Yo, here we go.
Westbrook.
See, now you're going to go out and try to diss my boy again. See what I'm saying? You're going to go out there and try to diss my boy.
Yeah, look, I'm dissing his shot selection. I'm not dissing him. All right, the 3-6 matchup. You have Portland and OKC.
Yeah, and I'm gonna tell you something. Right now, McCollum is hurt.
He's back. He's back.
Yeah, but he's not fully healthy, brother.
Okay.
And of course, you got Damian Lillard, who that's one of my underrated favorite players in the league. I think he should be getting a lot more props than what he's getting, but he plays out there in the Pacific Northwest, and he doesn't get as much as props as I think he should be getting.
Okay.
But no one is going to be surprised if OKC win this series. And I'm going to tell you something. This will be the only pick that I make with a team that is not the highest seed. I'm picking OKC in this series, flat out.
All right, well, Paul George, he has 2 shoulders. I mean, he looks good. A couple of days ago, he does look good. He went for a thunderous dunk. But he's unproven in the playoffs, man. He disappears sometimes.
Okay, and I made the same comment about Lowry in Toronto. Lowry's got to step up, and so does Paul George. And neither one of them are in a similar situation as they were before. So now I expect Lowry to come out of this postseason funk in Toronto because DeMar DeRozan's gone. They have a whole new batch over there. I expect the same thing from Paul George. You're not in Indiana no more. You're in OKC now. You do have support. You got Adams in the low block. I know he don't have much of an offense, but he does. He has a little hook game. Adams has a little hook game going on. He does box out well. He can rebound the basketball. All right. You have Bazemore. You got a lot of guys on that team that I think can step up and help these guys out. And I think as long as Westbrook, not Westbrook, as long as Westbrook is dishing the basketball, because I'm going to tell you something, triple doubles alone is not going to win the playoff series. All right? George will have to show up.
Yeah, okay? But what does the analytics actually say about that? I think they're better when
the analytics say OKC's going to win the series.
Okay. I don't like Westbrook actually. That's the thing with Westbrook too, man. Again, the shot clock, for offensive players is your enemy, man. And when you're down there on a defensive, trying to actually grab a defensive rebound, he has to, again, the shot clock goes to 24. He has to bring the ball up the court. It gets down to 18 by the time he actually gets up there. I'm pretty sure they'll trap him. They'll blitz him. They'll get the ball out of his hands. And, Paul George, if Paul George doesn't have it really going.
All right, Rasheed. I'll tell you something else, too. The Blazers in the regular season 4-0. Swept them.
Okay.
Portland could not keep
and that was with Nurkic, right?
That's right.
Okay. I don't want to see. The thing is, I got gassed up for the regular season too. Remember when they had assembled the Brooklyn Nets? Again, I am a Brooklyn Nets fan. When the Brooklyn Nets, going there, but go ahead. They assembled the super team that was on the cover of Sports Illustrated magazine. Darren Williams, Joe Johnson, Brook Lopez, Paul Pierce, and Kevin Garnett. Mm-hmm. Now, Brook Lopez got hurt that year, but they actually did beat Miami 4 times in the season. They swept them in the regular season.
Right.
Playoffs came, 1 game. The series went 5. So I'm not falling for that. The head-to-head matchup in the regular season. I learned my lesson because I went on to radio shows and calling. I'm like, hey, the Brooklyn Nets have a squad, man, and I learned my lesson with that.
Well, I hear you in that, and I tell you something right now. At the end of the day, my brother, the only thing regular season shows is that you play 4 different times at complete different times of the year. Okay, you didn't play back to back like a playoff series. That's the difference. In a playoff series, you got to play every other day or every day. Best 4 out of 7. You got to see the same player for 4 straight, 5, 6, 7, 8, 7 straight games. That's the major interlocking concept of a playoff series. Whereas the regular season, you see them 4 times at different times of the year. You can be on a streak, you can be losing, you can be winning, and when you see these teams, you play them. But that's the whole point. OKC's team, the season's been up and down, and they've seen Portland 4 different times, and they beat them 4 different times. But this is a different series.
We'll see how Westbrook's head is, man, because he takes a lot of bad shots, man. His shot selection is like one of the most god-awful that I've ever seen in my life, man, of watching basketball.
I'm going to tell you something. I think the pressure is going to be on Lillard and CJ McCollum. It's going to be the pressure is going to be on them. They need a post-season breakthrough. They need it because they haven't had it. I mean, McCollum had good games individually during certain games in the postseason, but these guys have got to do it over a 7-game
series. So what do you actually think about the additions in Portland? They have Rodney Hood there, who actually played well in Utah. When he got to Cleveland, he shrank playing under LeBron. So what do you actually think? I don't think there's any. There might be pressure on. You're right. I think there might be pressure on Portland. We've seen Rodney Hood shrink. I like his game, but pressure changes everything, man. So I think there is more pressure. I think there's pressure on both teams. You acquired Paul.
You know what? It's funny. Not as much on the OKC as it is on because people really feel like OKC has enough talent to get through the series. But you're looking at really two final points of Portland, and that's C.J. McCollum and Damian Lillard. These 2 guys.
Well, Steven Adams, kind of being in the paint is not going to allow Damian Lillard to actually drive like that. So we'll see if
Lillard and McCollum can shoot the basketball too. That's what makes it so good.
Yeah, but I don't. They're not good off the ball, man. It's just like they take turns. You can't just be a one-dimensional player. You have to have more elements to your game.
These players are not one-dimensional, bro. These guys got 2 points in the game. The ability to drive the rock to the basket.
Okay, that can be in the playoffs. That can be easily taken away, easily.
Yeah, but you can easily do it too. I mean, you're gonna hold on the concept that this thing's gonna be completely. There's no guarantees. OKC's not that great on defense. All right, it's a possibility they can get to the basket. I mean, we know Westbrook's going to get to the basket. We know he's going to get to the basket regardless because he plays that.
They don't have any. I mean, Portland doesn't have any rim protection. They lost Nurkic, so you know what? I have OKC in. Woo, damn, man, I have him in I give him 6 games, man.
Really? You'll go 6 games?
Yeah, I'll go 6. Westbrook, man. I just don't. So 6 games.
I trust him enough to make the right plays. Okay. I trust him enough to make the right plays. And because he got no choice, he knows the pressure is on him to do so. He knows what the reputation has been. So, he'll do just fine in that series. Let's get to the next series. Okay, yeah, and my pick would be the same as well. I'm picking the OKC Thunder in 6 games.
All right.
What's our next series?
4-5 matchup: Houston and Utah.
And Utah, oh, sucky man. Woo! Oh.
We have Rudy Gobert as who can actually move laterally. If he switched out on.
Yeah. We have a lot of people in this series on Utah that can get this thing going. I'm gonna tell you something though. I'll tell you, they beat them last year in the postseason, right? Can they beat Utah a second straight year? That to me is the biggest question. We're not too sure about that. I'm giving Utah a lot more presence in this series than meets the eye. I really am. Here's the things to watch. Okay, who's better on defense right now? And I have to say right now
that's Utah.
That Utah is the overall. I think Utah is basically number 2 defensively, and that's saying a lot about Utah's ability to defend. You talk about James Harden's ability to get to the basket. He can shoot the rock. He can get to. He's very deceptive. Is he going to get the foul calls, James Harden, in this series? My guess is
because I think what Utah does, they'll run James Harden off the 3-point line and probably run him into Gobert. So I think we're gonna have to rely more on CP3. I think he'll be very instrumental on their chances of actually advancing. CP3 can stay healthy, which I think he could. I mean, they use a lot of the load management on CP3 this year, so he should be fresh. That's the one evolution I actually see in Mike D'Antoni. He's not, wearing his players to the ground. So
Quinn Snyder's gonna do the same thing. I think right now his biggest problem is, Rudy Gobert hasn't been consistent in the rim protector. But I think Derek Favors is probably the better rim protector. And
he actually starts too. Yeah, does he start? He starts, right? I think he does.
I believe he started. I think he started this year. Then you got Jay Crowder and you got Thabo Sefolosha. Sefolosha's always been the one-on-one defender. Yeah, Jay Crowder's always he's very tough on offense and defense. That's why I think Utah is no surprise. Utah is the number 2 defense in the Western Conference, and I think that's why it's going to be tough on Houston to get points.
They'll actually score. I mean, you still have they have PJ Tucker who can actually hit the corner threes. That corner three is actually really hard to defend.
He's going to have to hit them shots. PJ Tucker will have to nail those shots.
Yeah.
If not, it's going to be a problem.
Well, I just think a healthy CP3, providing.
Hey, yeah, you're right. If CP3's healthy, Houston's got the series.
Yeah.
I mean, I know Donovan Mitchell is a tough matchup as well. Utah is just tough. They're one of those lunch bucket teams.
Yeah, I don't think they have enough offense to actually just get by Houston though. You can't. And Donovan Mitchell, his shot selection. I don't know, man. I'll take Houston in maybe 6 games.
That's right. I'm agreeing with you. Houston is 6, but it's gonna be a tough 6. It's gonna be a tough 6. Houston will get through this though.
Yeah, absolutely.
That basically covers our postseason, then, doesn't it?
You want to comment on the coach firings? Yeager, Larry Drew. Yeager's kind of interesting because they were.
I'm a little surprised by the only thing I'm a little surprised about is the Sacramento firing. I will add one extra minute on that. They were basically peaking, and they were looking like to be a very scary ACC team that I think Golden State would have a problem with, and Sacramento has beaten Golden State this season.
Because you have development from Buddy Yield. Buddy Yield was actually thought it was a bust. He comes to Sacramento, he's actually flourishing. The West is actually Sacramento played hard, and that's it actually shows that they actually really like their coach. They love their coach. That they're actually playing hard for hard for him. And
right.
so that's
I
just again is Divock running the team, a former player.
Yeah, I know, a former player, and that's why I'm a little surprised at firing. I mean, the other coaching decisions we can touch on our next show, obviously, but this one here was a little bit more surprising than anything. I thought Sacramento's on their way up, and I still do. It depends on who they get to replace them. And
well, they're talking about Luke Walton.
Well, you heard Luke's name, but let's not throw Luke's name up there. Does that mean Luke is fired already? We already know Luke is on the way out, but
so you're saying a tampering charge there?
Hey man, shoot! I'm hearing rumblings that they want Kobe Bryant to come in and take care of basketball operations over there in LA. But we're gonna talk about that one next show too. All right, but that one's heating up.
All right, Larry Drew, because I think the Cavaliers was actually they were playing hard. They were in a lot of games. Colin Sexton, he looks good. What do you think about that departure right there?
Well, he's only been in for 6 games, bro. So I'm not too sure, what they felt they were going to see in 6 games. Okay. But let's just say this. You always want to look at 2 things when you are an owner looking at your head coach. How well does he relate to his players? That is number 1. Are you getting respect from the players in the locker room? Number 2, are they listening to you? I think that was happening in Cleveland. But, we don't know the thinking of Dan Gilbert. We don't know what he sees moving forward. And you got to look at it. When you make a firing or you let somebody go, who else is out there that you feel like can take over? That's the whole key. So we're not too sure about it. But we can touch base on that moving forward. But I'm glad we were able to take care of the postseason, and I really like the postseason.
We have to do one more thing, Berick. We have to segue to football real quick. Tom Bradey actually saying he could play to 50 years old.
I will say this real quickly.
He stays in the pocket. He doesn't come out the pocket.
Doesn't matter. It's his arm. It's his ability to read defenses right away. Okay? A lot of quarterbacks lose that sense. I don't want you to get so fixated on the protection up front that sometimes protection can break down. Okay? I've seen some of Tom Brady's ex-offensive linemen take big contracts and go to other teams, and they not play well. You know why? Because Tom gets rid of that ball within 1 to 2 seconds. All right? He looks at the check down. That's why the running backs on that team are up there in the top 5 every year in receptions, because anybody that's open, that's where the ball's going to. Tom makes his offensive lineman look very good. He don't stand in the pocket very long, bro. He gets rid of the ball very fast.
Exactly.
Okay, so yeah.
That could actually take him to 50 years old. I mean, it's possible.
Let me tell you something. I'm going to say it again, and really Patriot fans are listening. I'm not saying I love Tom Brady as a competitor. I don't hate against the people that, oh, you're a hater. I don't hate against anybody who's great. I wasn't a Chicago Bulls fan, but I loved Michael Jordan. I'm not hating against anybody who's great. He's great. What I'm saying is, he wants to play till he's 50. That don't mean he's going to. His arm strength, the ability to throw the outside pattern from the inside of the pocket to the sideline, those are big passes that quarterbacks will always be known to do. When quarterbacks lose that zip, they start throwing the ball down the seam, which is down the middle, or they do quick slants or dump offs. I see a lot of those pass plays in what the Patriots call seam passes, quick slants, dump offs. I see the New England Patriots do that quite a bit. And I don't see them throwing 60, 70 yards down the field no more. I see them balls being thrown 25, 30 yards. Listen, I play this game good enough to know, and I've been around guys who coach quarterbacks. Tom's got the tools in terms of his health, intelligence, and he can read defense, but for how long? Defense can be very complex. Players are very fast. If everybody's covered down the field, Tom don't got anywhere to be. He don't got nowhere to throw that ball.
Well, he takes care of his body, man. I think his trainer actually swears by it too.
If they call a play and Tom don't have anybody open, he's holding that ball. And I told a good friend of mine, who probably know who it is, I always told him, Tom Brady is one solid hit away from retirement. You're going to be 43 years old into next season. You are one solid hit.
So you don't see Tom Brady running the football or anything like. You don't see that, right?
No, I don't see that at all, brother. Okay. I can see him. If all else fails, I can see him running 3 or 4 yards, but he's going to slide like he's a baseball player. I don't see him doing much. I just don't see him doing much, but doing what he does best in the pocket. Making great decisions with the football, getting rid of the football. Any quarterback is taught that, get rid of the ball. But some quarterbacks want to go 40, 50 yards on the field. They want the big play, so they'll hold on to the ball longer. And usually those quarterbacks are usually the ones that hurt. Tom has only been hurt one time in his career. He suffered an ACL knee injury to his left knee. And that's because the guy went after his knee, dove for his left knee when he threw the ball down the field. Outside of that, Tom's been healthy his whole career. It's just very simple why this man wants to go a long distance. He feels he can. He's confident he can.
His trainer is too.
Yeah, but I'm also the believer Father Time is undefeated. But I'll leave it at that.
Okay. All right. We'll wrap this up over here.
It's been a great show. I'm sorry I could not be there, but it's good that we can do it together, find ways to get it done. And I really wanted to touch base on the playoff series. This is basketball's #1 position as the NBA itself. This is the postseason, and we expect great things in the playoffs. And I expect some surprises. We made our predictions. We broke it down as best we could, but I do expect a few surprises here and there. But it's going to be a great playoffs. So I look forward to it. Game 1, the NBA playoffs start tomorrow on Saturday, 1 o'clock. NBA fans, get ready to go.
All right, everyone. Yeah, have a good weekend.
All right, guys, take care.